In the 1940s and 50s, one of the most luxurious train trips in the U.S. was the California Zephyr. As the primary means of transport between the Midwest and the West Coast, the Zephyr was the darling of passenger travel. The train is still around, but our trip will have a special twist.
During the golden age of American passenger trains, the California Zephyr was one of the finest. The train's three-day journey between the Midwest and the West Coast symbolized service, speed, and luxury. Starched tablecloths, fresh foods, and quiet sleeping compartments marked the travel experience. Sometimes known by a simple acronym, the CZ traveled some of the most beautiful landscapes the United States has to offer. There were flowing plains, majestic mountains, deserts, rushing streams, and deep canyons. The scenic views were wonderfully displayed by way of the Vista Dome, a glass-topped passenger car developed especially for the route. The golden age of passenger service ended in 1970, but the name and route survived. When Amtrak was formed, executives recognized that the California Zephyr still had plenty to offer. While Amtrak's Zephyr has been upgraded to superliners, several of the original California Zephyr cars still exist. They've been rescued and refurbished by California Zephyr railcar charters to the condition of the golden age. So starched tablecloths, quality dining, and first-class service are still a part of the experience. Travelers are on board Pullman sleepers and the only domed observation car still operating. But getting the cars rolling again wasn't an easy task.
These cars were in varying states of disrepair. They were in 1970s Amtrak decor and had been cannibalized for parts in some cases. Vista Dome and rear observation windows in this car were missing. As a result, there were mushrooms growing in the dome. In fact, there was a tree growing in this dome. In the Silver Lariat, the windows were largely intact with the exception of one of the side windows which had been broken, and it had been briefly lived in by transients. The Silver Rapids largely survived intact. We hire our staff largely from railroad business car departments. They know how to cater to people, know how to make them feel pampered. Our dining service is on fine china with stemware, real glassware, real silverware, starched linen tablecloths. Our beds are made with pressed and starched sheets. All the things that one would have found in the 40s and 50s when traveling on a train. We tried to keep the decor of the cars while updated, still, if you want to call it that, railroady, to provide that feeling that this is the way it used to be.
Personal service continues to be a hallmark of the California Railcars charter experience. The lead steward has a wealth of experience on which to draw.
First off, when we first meet and greet our passengers, we establish a bond there, and we try to continue that going through the trip, letting them know that this is, we give each passenger, we try to give each passenger personal service. Sometimes that's not easy to do with the numbers that we have, but we do try to ensure them that their needs will be met, and that's what my job is all about.
Food service is just one of the highlights of the travel experience. It's not simple to prepare gourmet meals while traveling down the rails.
You have to braise pots of hot water so they don't fall over, burn you. Everything moves. When you put plates of food down on the table, you have to make sure there's tablecloth underneath to hold it. Same within the kitchen. Any food that you have out has to have something underneath it so it doesn't slide off the counter. So motion is a big factor. The limited space is a big factor. It's a really small kitchen, and you just have to be really organized.
Our business trades on nostalgia. We attempted to keep a railroad feeling in all of the cars and not to make them something that they aren't. We provide a high level of service that generally is not found on major passenger trains today. And we cater to smaller groups rather than the masses. The trip that we're on today is an all-sleeper trip. There are no coach passengers among our guests. So everybody enjoys Pullman service the way, presumably, it was administered in the late 40s in the golden age of the railroad. And we provide an upgraded dining experience that's commensurate with the kind of travel that we put together.
The trip on these cars is still the same scenic journey with surprises at every turn.
The two most pleasant surprises on this trip, I think, have been the people. People have just been wonderful. And of course, the scenery to get to see part of the country like you've never seen it before. And at some points we're in a canyon and there's mountain on one side, mountain on the other, and you're just traveling right through the middle. It's breathtaking.
I like the service, the gentlemen that do the drinks and the dinner. Just being in the cars themselves, they're neat to see inside. You forget that it was transportation, but only everything is close in. And the cars are beautifully been restored. They're exactly what they looked like back then.
Everybody is so friendly, and we're pretty much first-time train riders, and almost all the people on board have gone on many, many rides before, and they're just so friendly and helpful and trying to educate us on the fun part of train travel.
I love the nostalgic part of this trip, riding in the old cars, seeing how people traveled a long time ago, and the service that's provided. It has been all I expected and more.
The trip takes passengers through areas that are unattainable by anything other than the railroad. Leaving the Bay Area, you ride along the Truckee River through the Sierra Nevada mountains. From the high desert of Utah, the sights of Ruby Canyon come into view just as you enter Colorado. Glenwood Canyon is next, followed by the run through Moffett Tunnel and over the Rockies and the Continental Divide. Then it's the plains of the Midwest, crossing the Mississippi at Burlington, Iowa. And finally, into the industry of Chicago, our final destination.
People take the trip here because of the spectacular scenery that is to be had. They come back to me, I believe, as repeat customers because they feel well treated and they feel that they've gotten a good value for their travel dollar.
For a nostalgic look, pampered journey, and unbeatable scenery, ride the California Zephyr railcars through what has been called the most scenic route in America.